Hello and welcome everyone! Let's explore this 48-color Kuretake Gansai Tambi set with me. Today's session is structured in two distinct parts that will give you both knowledge and inspiration. First, we'll spend time getting intimately acquainted with each of these 48 colors. I'll show you my approach to swatching, where I try to understand each pigment's character. We'll explore their opacity and transparency and how they behave on a 140-pound cold-pressed paper. And in the second half, we'll put this knowledge to work by painting a landscape scene that holds deep personal meaning. A view from Crystal Springs Reservoir that has been a source of inspiration for me. I really hope that this session will give you practical skills and artistic inspiration. Let's begin by swatching each color from this Kuretake paint set and discover what each color has to offer. Alright, as I dip my brush into these first colors, you can immediately feel one of the distinct qualities of these Kuretake paints. They feel soft and easy to re-wet. Just a touch of a damp brush is enough to lift a generous amount of pigment. There is no hard scrubbing needed here. The consistency is also nice. It feels rich and creamy right from the pan, and you can see how vibrant it is as I lay down these first strokes. This intensity is one of the things I'm beginning to enjoy about these watercolors. Yet with just a little water, it easily dilutes into a beautifully smooth, transparent layer. As you can see, the way I'm filling in each rectangle is a small exercise in creating a graduated wash. This is a fundamental technique in watercolor. I start by laying down the most saturated version of the color at the beginning. Then I clean my brush, dampen it with water, and gently pull that pigment onto the other side. Notice how it naturally transitions from a dark, concentrated value to a very light, diluted one. I think creating swatches for every color is a great practice for developing water control and understanding the full potential of each pigment. And to be honest with you, I also find these practices very calming and enjoyable. Now you might be wondering about these black waterproof lines I've drawn across each rectangle with a Sharpie. It is actually an important test that every watercolorist should understand. When I paint over these Sharpie lines, I'm testing each color's transparency versus opacity. Watch what happens as I brush this color over the black line. Can you still see the black line clearly through the paint? If so, this tells me the color is transparent. If the paint nearly covers or hides the black line completely, then I know this pigment is opaque. And if it's somewhere in between, where you can see just a hint of the black showing through, that's semi-transparent. Why does this matter for your painting? Well, if you want to create beautiful glazing effects or layer colors on top of each other, you'll want to reach for your transparent and semi-transparent colors. This allows light to pass through and create luminous glowing effects that watercolor is famous for. Opaque colors, on the other hand, will block what's underneath them, which can be useful when you want solid coverage or need to make corrections, but they won't give you that magical transparency. Using a waterproof pen is essential here because we don't want the black ink bleeding into our paint and affecting the colors. The simple test gives us an important information about how each pigment will behave in our paintings, helping us make informed choices about which colors to use for different techniques. It's worth mentioning what makes Gansai Tambi watercolors a bit different from many Western tube paints. These are traditional Japanese watercolors, and they are formulated to be highly pigmented, often appearing more opaque or semi-opaque when used with less water, which is why that initial stroke is so vibrant. The large rectangular pans are also a signature feature, designed to accommodate wider brushes for broad expressive strokes, often found in traditional Japanese art. Exploring these colors is like having a conversation with a slightly different artistic tradition, and it's a joy to discover what each one has to say. And there we have it. We're almost done with this 48 color swatch chart. Before we move on to the painting, I want to share that I truly enjoyed this process of getting to know each color individually. It's a wonderfully meditative practice. My main takeaway from this exercise is just how versatile and transparent these paints are. As you can see from our test over the black lines, when you dilute them with a bit of water, nearly every single one becomes beautifully transparent or semi-transparent. And now we are going to use some of these lovely colors to paint a scene from Crystal Springs Reservoir. Before we begin painting, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for being here with me today. I know that for many of us, life can feel and appear pretty tough lately. My hope with this channel and with sessions like this one is simply to share a little time of peace, love and inspiration with all of you. So, more than anything, my sincere hope for you and your loved ones is that you are safe and well today. Thank you again for sharing your time with me. Now let's begin painting this scene together. As I lay in this first wash of color, I want to share why I felt so compelled to paint this particular scene. The main reason is that I found myself back at Crystal Springs again and again. It's a constant in my life. Whether I'm having one of the happiest, sunniest, pain-free days, or even during the days when I've experienced the worst pain from my condition, I keep coming back here. It's a place that holds space for all of it. The inspiration is endless here. I love seeing how the marine layer clouds blanket this reservoir in the early mornings and then slowly dissipate as the day warms. I love watching the birds flocking and hovering in huge circles over the reservoir. And the flowers that bloom here in spring give me endless ideas for paintings. It makes me think of something David Taylor, one of the greatest master watercolorists, said, that an artist needs to be excited about their subject in order to pull it off. He apparently gets so energized that he even gives his signature jumps when he begins painting his beautiful landscapes. I agree with him wholeheartedly. We need to find that one subject that you love and truly excited about depicting on your paper or canvas. For me, this is Crystal Springs, one of those cherished places that I will love for as long as I live. As you can see, I'm now switching from a wet on wet to a wet on dry technique as I depict the mountains in the background. For the distant range on my left, I painted mostly using wet on wet and used cooler color mixes. This creates softer edges and the feeling that these hills are far away, an effect we call atmospheric perspective. Now, as the mountains advance toward us, I've begun adding a touch of carmine into my greens to create warmer, more muted tones. Usually these hills appear larger and warmer in hue, which gives us that feeling of visual perspective, making them feel closer to us. It's interesting, when I'm in the flow of painting, it often feels like these decisions come subconsciously, as if I'm just an observer watching it happen. Only when the piece is completed do I go back and analyze what I have done with more logical part of me. I do realize now that if I were to use logic and be very prescriptive with the way I paint, my works would look a lot different. In a way, I'm so glad that I can let myself be free and loose, to follow my intuition and that inner sense of what is beautiful in the moment. It allows the painting to have a life of its own. While I love letting intuition guide my brush, I also believe every successful painting needs a quiet, underlying structure. It's what holds the whole piece together. This structure is built from a few key ideas: having a clear path that guides your eye through the scene, creating harmony with the colors you choose, and using enough light and shadow to create real depth. These are the bones of the artwork. Now, I'm not aiming for technical perfection or to check off a list of rules as I paint. My goal is simply to find a sense of balance and harmony in the work. When those foundations are there, even in a loose and intuitive painting, it creates a scene that feels whole and invites you in. As we slowly come to the finishing touches of our painting, this is my favorite part. With a few joyful splatters of colors, we can suggest a field of wildflowers blooming in the foreground. The last touches of deeper values give our mountains and trees their final sense of depth. Looking at this piece brings our entire painting session full circle. From the simple joy of unboxing the beautiful Kuretake Gansai Tambi set, to the meditative process of swatching each color and learning its secrets, all of it has led to this, capturing a memory on paper. I have to say, I've absolutely loved working with these watercolors. They have a rich, honest quality that was perfect for depicting the place I love. And as we gently come to a close, my heart is just filled with profound sense of love and gratitude. Thank you to all of you who joined me today, and especially to those of you who have supported me and shared your own stories over these past 2 years since I started this channel. Your presence makes this creative process feel like a shared conversation. My biggest hope is that our time together encourages you to keep looking for the things that bring you joy and inspiration. Maybe it's a place like my Crystal Springs, the color of the evening sky, or the kindness of people. Whatever it is, I hope you take that feeling and create art with it. I truly believe that art saves our souls in a world that can feel overwhelming. The act of creating something beautiful is an act of hope. It connects us, heals us, and makes our world a better, more thoughtful place. Thank you so much for painting with me today. I love you all, and I'll see you again very soon.